Hi, I'm Claire, and this is my TBR for the 24 in 48 Readathon, as well as the Reading Rush, the Readathon formerly known as the Booktubeathon. Now, I've said before on this channel that I don't usually do great at readathons, but earlier this year I did the Magical Readathon, and I really enjoyed myself doing that. So I figured if that one worked better for me and got me to read more than I would normally have read in that period, then I might as well continue and try to take part in some more readathons, see how it goes. I also want to try and vlog because I've seen more and more reading vlogs across booktube. I know they're not new, but I started watching them more recently and I've been really enjoying people's reading vlogs. I'm a little bit unsure how interesting my reading vlogs are gonna be because it's gonna be mostly me and my flat, but you know, it's an experiment and y'all can tell me if you enjoyed them or not. So 24 in 48 is a readathon happening next weekend where people are aiming to read for 24 hours out of a 48-hour period, and because that 48-hour period is a weekend, a Saturday and Sunday, I think the assumption is generally that people wouldn't be working in that time, but I'm actually working on the Saturday, so I'm going to aim to read for at least 12 hours out of those 48 hours. Anyway, for 24 in 48, I have a really short TBR of shorter things. The first thing that I want to try and read for 24 in 48 is Backstagers, which is a comic book series that I've seen on Scribd. It's basically about high school kids doing theater drama classes in school, as far as I can tell. I don't know if it's got any kind of speculative or romance elements or if it's just slice of life, but I was a drama kid in high school, so I definitely want to check this out. And of course it's a comic, so it's great for a readathon. Next, I have Alice Paine Rides by Kate Hartfield. This is a novella about time travel with badass ladies, and it's a really great time. I mentioned in my mid-year book freakout tag video that I really enjoyed the first novella, Alice Paine Arrives, and especially love the character of Alice Paine, so I can't wait to get back into that world. And that is another one that I've got on Scribd as an audiobook, and it's really short as well. So I think that's one that's going to be designated for listening to whilst I do either chores around the house or go and get myself a really fancy coffee or something. Next up, I've got another super short audiobook from Scribd, but this one is non-fiction. It is called Camp Austen, My Life as an Accidental Jane Austen Superfan, and it is by Ted Scheinman. And this is one I heard about on one of my favorite podcasts, Fansplaining, which is a podcast all about fandom. In this book, Scheinman talks about his experience in Jane Austen fandom, and specifically in the part of Jane Austen fandom where they run Jane Austen conventions. It's kind of a retreat where people go and wear costumes and have balls and of course do literary criticism and talk about the worlds that Jane Austen created, but also have fun in character, in period outfits and stuff. So far I've only heard him talk about it on an episode of Fansplaining, but it was interesting enough, the way he was talking about it and the way that the hosts discussed the book ahead of talking to him, that I really wanted to check it out. And I've had it on my to listen list on Scribd for a while now, and it's only 3 or 4 hours, I think, so that is going to be an excellent, again, either go for a walk or do the chores in the house kind of book. And that's pretty much it for my 24 and 48 TBR. I don't want to put too many books on there just because I will probably have something that I'm still in the middle of from before the readathon that I want to finish, and I've also got this giant shelf of novellas on here that I want to read, so I can always pick up something either on there or on Scribd or on my Kindle or whatever. I'm just trying not to overload it too much because I have got a packed TBR for the reading rush. I'm super excited for this. I love the fact that they've made a whole new website for the reading rush and that you can sign up for it and that you can have your account where you put all of your books and you're going to be able to like put in your word count and get badges. So there are 7 challenges for the reading rush, with reading 7 books as an optional bonus challenge. Of course, I would like to try and read 7 books, and I've set up my TBR to try and read 7 books, but I have no idea if it's feasible or not. I want to try and take a little bit of time off of work during the readathon to just get more reading done and work on doing some vlogs and stuff, but I don't know if that's going to be possible, and if it's not, I might have to revise my TBR down a little bit. But for now, what I want to try and do is read the following 7 books. For the challenge of reading something with purple on the cover, I went with The Witch Boy by Molly Ostertag. This is a graphic novel that I know a lot of my friends liked, but I honestly don't know anything more about it aside from that. I really enjoyed Molly Ostertag's webcomic, strong female protagonist, so I would like to read more from her. And of course, it's a comic, which is always good for a readathon. Now, I also picked a comic for the next challenge because I misunderstood the prompt, which was to read 1 book all in the same spot. I thought that meant like in one go. It turns out it's basically like you can only read this book in this one spot, but it's okay to do it in a bunch of installments. So I ended up picking a comic book for this, specifically Giant Days Volume 7, just because I love Giant Days as a series and I'm quite far behind. There's at least like 3 or 4 more of this out at the minute, and I have like 2 more here, I think, apart from this one. So I definitely want to read this one. I might end up reading this during 24 and 48 if I run out of books, and then picking a later volume for this particular challenge, but I'm gonna put some Giant Days in my eyeballs soon because I miss this world. This is a comic book series about 3 young women who are friends and roommates at university. It's set in England and it's kind of mostly slice of life contemporary. Sometimes weird stuff happens, but it's not really fantastical so much. It's more about their lives and their friendships and like trials and tribulations, and I just absolutely adore it. It always makes me happy, so I definitely want to read some of it during these readathons because I think it'll make the time fly. Next up, we have Read a Book You Meant to Read Last Year, and for this one I'm going to pick one of the novel finalists for the Hugos that I'm trying to make my way through at the minute. I'm currently reading Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik and I'll be done with that one, but I have the whole Machineries of Empire series by Yoon-Ha Lee to read, preferably before the end of July when the voting closes. I would love to be able to read all 3 because the 3rd one is nominated in Best Novel. I really want to. I really hope I'll be able to read Revenant Gun, which is the 3rd book for this challenge, but it might have to be Raven Stratagem. I don't know. This is one of the more open categories. Basically anything that's up for a Hugo this year is probably something I had on my radar last year and meant to read and then didn't. Next we have Read an Author's First Book, and for this I'm going with These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. Originally I was going to read this for purple on the cover, as I'm sure you can tell, but in the end I decided to go with Debut because that was the one debut I had on my list, and then I found Witch Boy. So this is a story about witches, which I absolutely love. It's also like a girl dealing with like her ex-girlfriend coming back into her life at the same time as she's meeting this new girl that she really likes, and shenanigans and witchcraft and stuff. Like basically just from the cover and the title I really want to read it. YA Witches is something that I've really loved recently, hence Toil and Trouble, which is an anthology of YA witchy stories that I adored, so I want to read some more YA witches, and that's what I'm picking. For Read a Book with a non-human main character, I went with In the Vanisher's Palace by Aliette de Bodard. This is a novella retelling of Beauty and the Beast, where the Beast is in fact a lady dragon, which would be of course our non-human protagonist. I've really enjoyed Aliette de Bodard's short fiction before, and I've wanted to read this one since it first came out, which was also last year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if that one could count for want to read last year if I run out of things, so that might be able to do double duty if I run out of time. For a book with more than 5 words in the title, I went with The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. This is a female-female historical romance novel, and I say novel, but I hear that it is quite short. I think it's like 200 pages or something like that. A friend of mine who's read it said it read really quickly, so I'm hoping that's going to be another really good thing for a readathon. It sounds adorable. It's about obviously 2 women who end up meeting and like doing a lot of science and astronomy together, as well as falling in love, so that sounds delightful, and I definitely think it'll be like a really happy making book that'll read quickly and then keep the momentum going for a readathon, which is quite important for me. For read a book and then watch the movie adaptation, I tried really hard to think of something that I hadn't already read or already seen. I thought, you know, it'd be great to get to something new, but in truth, the one thing that I really wanted with all my heart to reread and then rewatch is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and of course a Studio Ghibli movie. They are both fabulous. They are quite different, which is something that I really enjoy in an adaptation. I've wanted to do a video about how different they are and like what that says kind of for a really long time, so it would be a good opportunity to do that, I think. I haven't seen that movie in such a long time. I think it's going to be a really comforting, nice thing to do. Like I said, I think momentum is quite important in a readathon. If I think like I have to read so many books and they seem daunting or not pleasant, then it's quite hard to actually get through all of them in a short period of time. And this is like ultimately so comforting and good, and something that I know I'm going to have enthusiasm to reread and rewatch. So I think it's going to be a lovely cap for this readathon, and like it just makes me smile thinking about it. So that's it. These were my reading plans for 24 in 48, as well as the reading rush. And I'm also going to try and do, I guess, some of the video challenges. I'm not going to do everyday vlogs, but I'm hoping I can do like 1 vlog for all of the reading rush, or maybe 2, like broken up in half the week, I don't know. But I'm definitely hoping that I'm gonna do all the video challenges and all the Instagram challenges, because I've been trying to get a bit more into Bookstagram. I know it doesn't look like it from my Instagram, but I've been taking pictures and practicing a little bit, not to hype myself too much. But anyway, let me know if you're doing the reading rush or 24 in 48. Please leave your channel or your Bookstagram or your blog or whatever. If you have a TBR video or post, I would love to see it. Just let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check out a previous video on screen right now. And if you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button that's on my face for a new video from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.